So we are back with another War League video. This is going to be versus Insidious of the team Krebones. Okay, so as you can see, it's going to be Christia Sworn. Well, you don't see the Christia part yet. It's Light Sworn versus Fairies, which is pretty much his signature deck. So he goes set recruiter. So my hand is pretty cracked. I think what I'm going to do here is solar recharge something away and then decide if I want to card destruction. So I get rid of the Jane. It's not too useful in this matchup. Okay, so draw pretty good. So we have the option to just do Lightstorm plays like Lumina, pitch, bring back either Lila or Jane, try to attack, or just summon Lila and attack. But since I know he's playing fairies, I don't really want to attack any of his recruiters. Or like DD Warrior Lady or whatever. So could be an option to just normal summon like probably go Lumina or Lila if I wanted to play around Herald and try to mill, and then next turn if he can't kill my monsters I can tribute for Celestia. But here I'm just gonna I decide to get a little greedy with my draws and see if I can draw something better. Like maybe a JD wouldn't hurt, or like a way to get this Christie alive because I already have 3 fairies and I have Call of the Haunted, so I can summon this back if I want to. So yeah, we pitch for him 3 fairies and a brain control, which is a little scary because that helps him set up his Christia. Okay, so we draw an okay hand. We do have Fairy and Herald, so it's not too bad. Lila and Gardna not so much, since we're kind of hoping for something a bit more, well, a boss monster, probably. So here, what I'm thinking of doing is, I still don't want to attack his monster. I have a synchro option for a level 8, perhaps Avenging Knight to do some piercing damage. I think that's probably the best one. Or Red Dragon Archfiend. Only thing is, I don't know if Red Dragon Archfiend can destroy recruiters before they trigger in the graveyard, so I'm not exactly sure that's a good idea, but I just don't want to banish any of these monsters right now, especially when I'm close to getting Christia live and JD's already live, so I think I just go Gardna, set Gardna and pass, because I want to get this in the graveyard at some point, and if somehow he does not kill this, I could go into a Catastor and deal with his recruiters that way. Okay, so he goes Mind Control. I'm very happy to see that because it happens to not be punishing, so I'm sure he wasn't too happy to see that. Also, flip summons Nova, totally fine. He sets a monster and a back row. Okay, so we do have Beckoning, which is really good. So I have a few things. I can go summon Lila to destroy his back row, or just go for Catastra up front. If I go for Lila, then don't really have that great of a follow-up. I mean, I could do the call for Christia play and try to just deal with his monsters that way. So that could have been an option, but then I wouldn't be able to do any synchro stuff. And I'm trying to give myself a good beckoning. There's an option I can just destroy the card and destroy his back row and just pass. But like, I don't know, I kind of want to get this off the field, but on the other hand, it does make his Christie alive if he has another one. And just a reminder that I don't know that he has Christia at this time. So I think what I decide to do is I do decide to go for Catastra. I'm trying to see if he has like Book of Moon or something, because I know fairy decks like to play many copies of Book of Moon, so that could be an interrupt here. Then if something happens to the Catastra, I can call back my Christie and then run over the recruiter that way. Okay, so he mirrors, that's fine. Now I go for Christia. He just takes it. He does not honest over it, probably because he wants to be at 4 fairies. Okay, so I just set Beckoning Pass. Flips Raikou, which is kind of annoying. I'm not really sure how many Raikou's fairies are playing at this point, but it's unfortunate that he has such an easy out. I guess DD Warrior Lady also works. He mills a 5th fairy, which gives me a sigh of relief until he activates the main deck Soul Release. This is something that's been pretty popular among the new fairy meta. So I do have the Beckoning, but when I see he's targeting his own Christie, I'm like, oh, I am in trouble. So I have to think long and hard, because I'm obviously going to chain, but I'm not really sure what I want to get back. I think if he's going to summon Christia, then Honest is definitely one of these things, so I can kill the Christia, because at this time I don't have any other way to clear her. So he's going to banish my fairies, obviously, so I can't resummon her. Okay, so I add back Honest and I add back Herald, which I'm not too sure if that was the best thing, because if he does summon, I was thinking I could negate the Christie effect when it's summoned, but the problem is that only buys me 1 turn, because if he doesn't add anything back, he's still at 4 fairies, and Christia will go to the top of the deck and not the graveyard. So he'll just be able to resummon it again. So I think this getting back Herald is kind of a mistake. The thing is, I'm not sure what other card I should add. Maybe probably one of the normal summons, Lila or Jane. And then I guess try to like use priority on my honest so that if he has an honest, he can't chain it. But then he can still summon back Christie anyway. Like if I do that, because he can chain, he'll go back to 4. He'll have the loop going, and I don't really have a good way to answer that. Another option is try to get back Celestia, but I don't have a Lightsworn normal summon. If I did have one already, I could have used Necrogarnet to block an attack and then tribute if he didn't have another monster of the Christie, but he's going to have one because he'll add one back. So I'm in an awkward spot now. So he decides to not summon that right now and just passes. Okay, so I draw the Christia that went to the top. So here I am thinking if I want to summon my honest and crash with his to put the 5th fairy in the grid, but on the other hand, I'm thinking, why would he just summon that on the field and risk it going to grave if he didn't have an answer to kill it? If he didn't have an answer if honest were killed. So that made me a little worried. Pretty sure he has Christie at this point, so I'm not thinking he has another honest, but another disruption would kind of hurt. So I think if he's thinking, well, he's not summoning it Christia right now because he doesn't want it to get heralded, even though I don't think getting heralded is that bad because I go minus and you still get your Christia eventually. So I just pass. Okay. Now he summons Christie, and I have to herald at this point because I'm going to take a lot of damage if I don't. But he has another interesting main deck tech, My Body is a Shield, so that takes care of that herald. Yep. I'm forced to Necro. Bounces honest. Draw another honest, but at this point I just scoop because there really isn't anything I could do here. Yeah, really unfortunate game 1. Those side deck cards in game 1 ended up putting in a lot of work, so next time you hate on fairy players main decking Soul Release, hey, it can work. Alright, game 2. I open another good hand. Well, it has Solar Recharge, so I can't complain too much if that happens. Pitched. Yeah, so I milled Magellan do. I sided this card in as a way to stall against his deck, since it's basically a Spirit Reaper and I can tribute it for Christia if I'm, for instance, locked under special summoning, either by Christia or Oppression. So I figured it was a decent tech. Yeah, I just decided to go for Lumina, try to bring back Arcus. The not targeting thing doesn't really come up that much against fairies. I guess it can stop their Book of Moon, but really I'm just trying to bring it back because he's got an 1800 defense, and just to help me stall a bit so that I can draw my power cards. He does herald it, which a little annoying, but my hand's still fine. set call and pass. I could set the beckoning, but I don't really want to be forced to use it if he heavy storms me, because I don't have any boss monsters in the grave. Summons the recruiter. Totally fine. Hamster's a really good draw. I just decided to set that. Pray that he doesn't have Nobleman of Crossout. He doesn't, so it's really good for us. Draw into the My Body. Decided this in for Herald, so that will hopefully come in handy. Just go after the recruiter. Pretty decent mills. Still no JD or Christia, unfortunately, but it's okay. We still have we still have some. We're still up in cards. Decide to go after the back row. Jane's book. Totally fine. Someone's honest. He sets one. So here I'm a little nervous because he's close to 4 if I kill this. So not really sure how to deal with that just yet. I could card destruction and make him go to like more than 4 fairies if he had them, but I don't really have a good hand to card destruction. I don't really want to discard these cards. So yeah, I think what I want to do here is call back Lila, pop his back row, just not attack this honest at all, and just mill some more cards, hopefully get like a Christie's, and yeah, just try to prevent him from dropping it. So he chains oppression, and I'm pretty much relieved at this point because it means I can kill his honest and then he can't drop his Christia, so that's what I do. Like, I guess I should have normaled the honest too, just to get more damage. You know, the more damage I can do, the quicker I can turn off his oppression. Yeah, I probably should have done that. I guess I was trying to, like, conceal that I have honest, but I don't think there's a reason to. Set my beckoning, pass. I'm summoning honest. Don't really care if I get torrential or mere force. I'm probably not gonna My Body that, but My Body can also be used if I add back Lumen and use the effect so I can out the oppression that way, but I don't really want to out the oppression. I'm perfectly fine with playing under oppression. I just don't want him to drop the Christia. So I'm just trying to go for chip damage at this point. Someone's Ryo. Think a bit of whether I want to honest this, and I do, just because both of his honests are gone, and I just he's a big guy, and I don't really want to try to deal with him later on, even though I could technically just like add back Jane or the Raiko, but I really just want to keep him off monsters and not lose my tempo. Okay, draw Lila, pretty good. Normal summon, I'm not going to use the effect because I want to get in the damage. Yep. Gonna set the My Body. Kind of iffy if I should set this or not, but like, I don't know, maybe I'm fearing lightning vortex or something like that, but I don't think I care that much. This just leaves it being susceptible to like a brain or mind control pop. I don't think I need to do that just yet. But I think I'm also doing that in case he targets this with like a spell trap destruction, so I don't discard the my body. Yeah, I think that was what I was trying to do. Goes brain. Perfectly fine with that. He can't really tribute over anything or make a synchro. So he's gonna target a random back row. Does hit the beckoning. I'm obviously gonna chain. I just decided to go Honest or Lila. So I have the option to pop the Royal Oppression later when I'm trying to go for game. And yeah, Honest, so I don't have to worry about his Honests. Okay, he gives it back. So the ruling is he doesn't have to mill 3 before returning Lila to my control, so kind of a giveaway that he has a Christia. Okay, draw JD. Not really live right now, but it's fine. We can still keep poking with Honest. Yeah, I decide not to bounce here because I don't want to get dust shooted, and I can just Necro Gardna and attack if he summons anything to try to run this Honest over. So apparently I can switch Lila back to attack now because he used her effect on his turn, so I'm trying to go for game. He Mirror Forces, I chain my body. He does have the Book of Moon, so he is not dead. So at this point, I decide it's a good time to drop JD. Does turn on his Christia, but we have the Necrogun, so he can't Honest over us. And yeah, unless he draws like specifically a fairy to use with his Herald, we're in a pretty commanding spot. So just gets back the Honest, Gardna, and that's gonna be the game. So game 3, I won't lie, it's a sack fest. My hand itself isn't too great if you discount Dust Shoot and Mind Crush because I have no Lightsworns, and my hand is very susceptible to knock because I'm relying on the hamster to go off. Okay, draw Celestia. Again, pretty good with the hamster, but I need the hamster to go off. So I'm just hoping, well, if I see knock in his hand, I have to Mind Crush it. Otherwise, I'm just in a very losing spot. Yep. So yeah, I take back the Thunder King because I want to tribute for Celestia, and I don't want him to have anything to attack over the 1800 defense. Yeah, so I just go for the Celestia because I know he has nothing in his hand. I just decide to go super aggro so that I can possibly threaten with Honest maybe in the next turn. Goes for D-Elk, Mills Mirror Force. Pretty good to see. That just sets 2. And we sack with a top deck heavy storm. And that's game. So yeah, very sacky end of game 3, but I really don't think this matchup is as easy as some people would think, because there are things you have to pay attention to against fairies, like being careful about when to attack the recruiters and playing around Herald and stuff, and also like the side cards in the main deck, like I mentioned, with Soul Release, and I think even mains Nobleman, so definitely things you have to keep in mind. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.